And we're back. Hey everyone, I'm Ultraviolent4, and it is finally time for a new playthrough of Dungeon Crawl Stone Soup. Guess who's back, guess who's back, guess who's back. Got a little bit of an announcement. If you hang out on the DCSS subreddit, you probably already know this, or maybe you do, I don't know. Maybe you don't read every single new thread like I do. Anyway, part of what I've been doing between the last playthrough and now is working on a website. So you'll find the URL in the description for this video and all future videos, but the website is ultraviolent4.com. The things I've got up so far, there's a guide for crawl, which is very comprehensive. It's pretty long. It took me several months to write it. There are a few things that I need to update and fix about it, but I'll get around to that eventually. There's also a tactics guide, which is written by Patashu, who's he's a crawl legend from back in, I think he last played in something like 0.8, but he's super into tactics and that sort of thing. That's also very good. I'll just say that the guide is pitched at the level of someone who's not played before or hasn't played that much before, but I'd like to think that even if you do have quite a bit of crawl experience, there'll probably be things in there that will still be valuable for, and if not, maybe some of the memeing will amuse you. Anyway, there's a section there for combo guides, which I started working on the first one, but the aim for that is ultimately for all these playthroughs that I do, I'm going to write up a little guide to go along with it. Basically distill all the information from the run and then put it together in text so that, why wouldn't you want to? But if you don't want to watch the whole playthrough, you can still get a good idea of how the run should work. So first of all, with that, I'm going to have to play catch up. I'm going to start off by writing guides for the 27 or so playthroughs I've already done. So it's going to be some busy weeks and or months playing catch up. But that's alright. And lastly, I've got some other things in the works with a couple of other top crawl players have begun writing some more content. So I'm actually quite excited about that. So yeah, check that out, ultraviolent4.com. Now, that's enough announcement. Let's play some crawl. So today we're going to be playing in an Octopode wizard. Let's find it. I'm always so careful. I don't want to hit the wrong one. We're in advanced. I don't even trust using the arrows. I'll highlight it, but I'm going to press the letter. It's X. And wizard. Where are you? P. Did we get Octopode wizard? Okay, good. Alright, this run goes out to Molly, who in essence said, "You've played an Octopode fighter. Could you now play an Octopode with a more appropriate background?" Sure, why not? Although in my defense, I actually unironically think that melee Octopodes are relatively strong. I know that doesn't sound right, but you have constriction in the early game, which is really good, and due to their aptitudes, I actually think it's pretty strong. Anyway, we're going for what most people would consider to be a more appropriate background for an Octopode, which is a mage. So why wizard? Why is that an appropriate background for an Octopode? Well, first of all, seeing as I played an Octopode fighter before, I feel like wizard is a pretty good complement to fighter. But to answer the question more directly, Octopodes, if we look at their overall aptitudes, are fairly flat across the board. Most things are 0. It's a -1 on spellcasting, which is perhaps a greater argument for why melee Octopode is actually legit and not a joke. There's a +2 on poison magic. They're pretty good at invocations and evocations, and then amazing at stealth. But for a wizard, you start off with a book of minor magic, which is more of a generalist book. So rather than being focused on any particular strategy or spell school, it's more built around utility, which I think plays nicely with that that sort of flat aptitude that Octopodes have, because the species is kind of utility and the book is utility, so it works nicely together. You'll see in the description that we're going to be playing Nemelex this run. Why Nemelex? Well, I pre-picked it, that's the first thing. I'll talk about this a little bit more when we actually do manage to find Nemelex, but the short of it is that Octopode is kind of a silly species and Nemelex is kind of a silly god, so I think that will be fun together. But also, I actually think because of the way Wizard works, where you've got a lot of utility but no actual overall strategy or direct strategy, I think it works nicely with a god that's able to, in and of itself, provide that way for you to get through the game. Yeah, so I don't know, to expand on that a little bit more, if you're thinking of a god, say Zin, who offers you really good panic buttons in case you get in bad situations, that'd be kind of the opposite of this. Whereas I think of a god like your red that carries you so hard on its own that what you do is relevant. That's the other end of the spectrum. Nemelex is more towards the red side of the scale, where he provides you a means of killing enemies just on his own. So that's why. We're having a look at our Octopode screen here. You cannot wear most types of armor, and by that it means the only armor you can wear is a hat, which we started off with a +0 hat. It's giving us literally no armor, but it looks pretty cool. It's white. I guess. Alright, you're very stealthy in water. You actually can go into deep water as an Octopode. You're amphibious, the same thing. You can wear up to 8 rings at a time. That's probably the most iconic thing about an Octopode. That sounds amazing in theory, and it is if you manage to find 8 really good rings. But in most games, just finding 8 rings at all is often a challenge, let alone 8 really good ones. But if you do get there, it can be really strong. We get a innate stealth bonus, which is nice, and we get +1 AC and +1 EV, so we're not ever having 0 AC. That's also nice, I suppose. Having a look at our book, I showed this before, but there's a lot of utility in here. We start off with Magic Dart, which is a pure conjuration, and then we're going to have a bunch of different, I guess you'd call them tools. This is kind of like a toolbox book, but we'll see as we go. So it doesn't push you in any particular spell school or any particular direction. You're kind of reliant on either finding books or on worshipping a god that pushes you in a direction. Alright, we'll do our skills. For level 1, which is the most dangerous part of the game, we're going to be reliant on Magic Dart, which is a conjuration. So I don't mind focusing it, just for the moment at least. Even though we're not using conjurations so much after level 1, that's not true. We're doing Conjure Flame and Infinity Cloud. Okay, never mind. So we will focus conjurations. We definitely want spellcasting on. Not only does that give us more magic points, but it allows us to learn more spells. Your spell levels are really important when you're a wizard because you're going to want to learn everything in this book, except slow. Yeah, slow is, compared to everything else in this book, is really mediocre, and I don't think I ever learn it. I was just going to say, I didn't point out that you can constrict enemies, although I did earlier, so that's fine. We might do that a bit, even though we are a quote-unquote mage. Alright, with a +4 aptitude to stealth, I think it's probably always worth at least training some. With equals, I'm going to put on a spell target for probably, I don't know, we'll do 5 and then we'll think about it. I've been getting more and more reliant on these spell targets. I played quite a lot of crawl during the previous tournament, so yeah, I don't know, I really like these spell targets. Alright, I like to usually do at least one defensive skill, and you could think of stealth as a defensive skill, but just training stealth, I don't know, doesn't feel very good. So the other ones that we do would be either fighting or dodging. An argument could perhaps be made for both, but that's probably stretching our skills a little bit too thin, especially considering that we're going to be, our spell skills are going to start going everywhere as we level up. Of the two, I think I'd rather have fighting, which is going to give us more hit points rather than more evasion. You can never wear armour, so you naturally have a lot of evasion as an Octopode anyway. We're starting off with 18. And I didn't point this out, but as an Octopode you have minus 10% HP, so you're relatively fragile, especially when you combine that with not ever having any AC, and you have normal magic points. Alright, let's play Crawl. We got fighting on, we got spellcasting, concentration, stealth. Alright, let's do it. No, let's not, because before we do it, let's set up a macro. Hitting the tilde key and then M. I'm going to make a macro for Magic Dart. ZA... No, that's not right. Let's go again. ZAF. In previous videos, you would have seen that instead of the F, I use a dot, which is like enter. I've started using F instead. When you're targeting things, F works in macros, and then you don't have the danger of dot also potentially being wait a turn. If you accidentally try to confirm with F in a macro that doesn't use, for a spell that doesn't need confirmation, all you'll do is enter the throwing menu. So like this, I try to fire and it just says no suitable missiles. I'll never accidentally wait a turn. Alright, let's go. First thing we see here are some stones. I'm going to go pick those up. Magic Dart is a full screen spell, but I don't know, there might be a time where we could throw stones to alert enemies, or maybe we run out of mana and an enemy is still away from us, so we might throw stones. Welp. So we just lost a lot of footage. For the first time ever, I set up a hotkey that would stop streaming so that I could start and stop it by pressing a button rather than with the mouse. The reason that I never did that before is because I kind of always knew that as soon as I did it, I'd accidentally at some point hit stop streaming and then miss a bunch of content, which is exactly what just happened. First time. So I'm really sorry about that. You haven't missed too much exciting stuff. Alright, so what you saw is we went and picked up some stones and then yep, here we are now. Suddenly you've reached level 2. So what did you miss? And also, just for the record, I've now gotten rid of stopping by hotkey. I'll start it with a hotkey, but I'm gonna stop it manually with the mouse. Alright, so we picked up those stones. I was saying we might throw things if we run out of mana, maybe, and an enemy is still not on top of us. We fought a first enemy leopard gecko, which was a little bit scary, but we managed to kill it. Our last point of mana killed it. We're still full HP, so I mean, it wasn't too bad of a fight. And then we fought a bunch of bats and a couple of kobolds, one of which had a weapon, which actually makes me think, why haven't I picked it up? A dagger. I should have picked that up. Ah, because it's up there. Ah. Sorry, waiting for the plane. I know why we haven't picked that up, because with our last point of mana, we magic darted and killed that kobold, and a jackal turned up, but it did not notice us. So I was just saying about how that was extremely lucky, because jackals are a very common mage killer, because they come in packs of up to 5, maybe even 6, and they're faster than you, which means you can't run. So what often happens is especially if you can't get to a hallway. But even if you can, they run you down because there are so many of them. You run out of mana and then they just kill you and you can't do much about it. So the fact that when we ran out of mana and we saw that jackal and it didn't see us was very nice, which I would attribute to our stealth. Well, a little bit of stealth training, but really more, to be honest, is the fact that we have an innate stealth bonus. So yeah, sorry about skipping all that. The other thing is that I started off exploring to the right here. We went up this corridor and I thought this is not a great way to explore because we're running up a really long corridor, which is something you don't want. You'd rather sort of stick more towards where you're coming from and look for pillars. So the first one I found was this 2-tile pillar here, which you can run around to regain your mana. And once I found that, I kind of stuck in this area which was close to it, and then there are a bunch of other pillars over here. Alright, so we reached level 2. We've got 3 different spells we can learn here, although really I think more of it, like there are 2 here. There's Blink and there's Call Imp. We're going to learn both of those, not slow. Blink and Call Imp. One is a translocation, which is more of a panic button. Call Imp is more of, it's kind of like a workhorse. If you roll well on your imps, you can get the cold ones, freezing imps, and just a freezing imp alone, if you get lucky, can kill, say, a D2 Sigmund. It will kill most things in the early game just because the cold damage is so powerful. It also has the benefit of slowing a lot of enemies. You can have 3 imps at any time. And then what are we going to do? I'm going to set a skill target for conjurations at 2 because I like round numbers. But we're also going to start training our summonings. Translocations are important too. It's good to have Blink as a panic, but I think Call Imp is more important because yeah, it's a spell we're going to rely on much more. So I'm going to turn summonings on. I'm going to do a similar thing. I'm going to take that to 2. Alright. What spell is Call Imp on C? By doing =S, I'm going to change the button to, I don't know, maybe W. I'm going to set up a macro for that one too, ZW. Alright, cool. So let's go take on some jackals. I know they're up here, so before I actually reveal myself to them, I can try to roll a powerful imp. Crimson imps are standard ones, they're not that strong. Oh no, they came. Let's go again. Okay, and we failed that one. I'm trying to roll one of the freezing ones, or one of the stronger ones. How do we keep failing? That's something else that you missed. Kept failing our magic dart, even though it's at 9%. Failed it a lot. And what's going on here? Yeah, that is the correct macro, ZW. Okay. Why? There we go. Okay, we got a white imp. Alright, time to run in. Let's we can just let that kill all these jackals for us. That imp alone should be able to kill all of them. I'm gonna run up here, that's where the imps were. Also gonna pick up the dagger on the way. Okay, well, our white imp disappeared. If we do need to melee things, having a dagger is good. And this is another point that you missed, but the way that constriction works is that every time you melee an enemy, you get a chance to constrict it. And once you have constricted it, as long as you don't move from the same spot, any action you do, the constriction damage will apply. So it can sometimes be not a bad idea just to constrict an enemy, even if you're then intending to pelt it with spells. Because as you cast your spells, you're going to be getting physical damage. It's essentially irresistible damage. And it can't miss. So in the early game, it's really, really strong. Most things have low HP. And when you're applying damage that won't miss, you'll kill things pretty quickly. Let's head this way. We're sort of sticking around all these pillars that we've got. Alright, never mind, we're going the other way. That's not the right button. All our scrolls are singles until we get doubles that indicate that it might be either remove curse or identification. I'm not going to read any of those. Speaking of which, there's a 2. We don't have any potions, so I'm going to hold on to it for now. Oh, there's a potion. Because even if we get identify, we wouldn't have potions to do. But now that we have a 2 and a potion, I'm going to say just by looking at this, it looks like we probably cleared most of D1. I'm going to wait to the start of D2 because then we might get magic mapping and then we'll read it. We just failed that magic dart twice. Alright, well, here we go. We're now melee Octopode again. We didn't constrict it either. Alright, so that's at the end of our D1. There really weren't that many enemies on here, and especially for you because you missed most of them. But we're only a third of the way to experience level 3, which is pretty low. You'd like to be level 3 most of the time when you go onto level 2, so that you have Mephitic Cloud. But not this time. And because enemies no longer spawn on floors, we can't even scum experience, so we just gotta move on. Alright, first thing we're gonna do is read one of those 2 scrolls. It's teleportation. Okay, that's why when you read your scrolls you want to be on a staircase, because if that happens you go back upstairs and you don't get thrown onto a random part of the unexplored floor. I'm picking the same staircase because we know that it's safe. We're not about to go down it and end up next to a null pack or Sigmund or something like that. Oh, we didn't pick it up. Oh, that's a 1. That's okay. We keep miscasting. Worms are quite hit really hard, but they're slow. So if you have any means of kiting them, they should never kill you. So I'm just going to bring it upstairs and we're just going to kite him with magic dart. If this doesn't work, we'll summon some imps. He has high HP and we keep failing. Come on, spell. We failed it again. Oh, we failed it. Even just fighting this worm, we've miscast magic dart 3 times. Okay, I think maybe we'll just wait for 2 mana and we'll just make an imp, because our magic dart is not overcoming its regen. Looks like our imp is not going to do it either. And we miscast again. Maybe we can just constrict it. Okay, there's our constriction. We're just going to keep meleeing it. Alright, there we go, got it. We killed it by the constriction. As I've been saying, it's really strong. I don't know what the deal with our magic dart is. Ooh, there's an adder. This is really early. We've only got 1 potion, which is, I don't know. There's a chance, I suppose, that it's curing. But we don't know that, so it's really quite risky to fight the adder. Magic Dart happens to be a pretty good spell against adders because it can't miss. But it's still, we're playing with, I was going to say playing with fire, but more accurately, we're playing with poison to fight him. Although what we could do is spam some imps, and if we get a white one, which we did first go, we can just send that onto the adder. Oh man, it hasn't killed it. The white imps are really, really strong against the adders because not only does the cold damage slow them, but it also just kills them. But it hasn't. Alright. There we go, white. There we go, white imp. Fired a Puff of Frost finally. Spell levels up. Spell level ups, rather. The main reason you normally pick strength on a character is because you want heavier armor. And we can't wear armor, so you might think never pick strength, but that's not quite true. The amount of damage that you do with constriction on an Octopode depends on your strength. So there's an argument for it. We're not going to pick that though. That's probably more relevant if you're a melee Octopode, but even then, I don't know, strength's not. I wouldn't pick strength just for constriction damage. Intelligence will help your spellcasting, which you'd expect we're going to do a lot of as a wizard, and your dex allows you to dodge better, which you're always going to do as an Octopode because you can't train armor, you can't wear armor, so you're probably going to be investing in dodging. We already have 20 intelligence, which is an enormous amount. Wizard is a background that starts with the most int. You can make a very strong case that int is just the best for spellcasters, so you should just keep going int. I have a sneaking suspicion though that we're not going to be going into extremely high level spells, especially considering that we're going to be picking Nemelex. It's not like we're going to be a Wizard of Vehement where we're going to be a blaster caster sort of Octopode. We're probably going to be more of a hybrid, so for that reason I don't mind picking Dex. Nowadays, in current year, you have to do uppercase letters only, so we'll go capital D and we'll level up our Dex. I don't like this D2 that we've seen so far. All we've seen are long hallways, no nice pillars or anything like that. I'm gonna go the other way. Alright, we're gonna worm again. We're miscasting again. I'm gonna just go an imp. That's a shadow imp. He can do up to... Oh no, he's not... Sorry, it's the iron imp that has crazy melee damage. He's got pain. In any case, he should just be able to kill the worm for us. Nice. The ooze didn't see us. I maybe should have just backed away from him, but I decided to engage. We're only missing 1 mana, and he's not faster than us, so I could have always backed away. Our first ring, that's a big moment as an Octopode. We don't have Remove Curse yet, so it's actually, until we have Remove Curse, it's too risky to put on a ring. Could be Curse Teleportation, could be -6 protection, -6 evasion, a bunch of bad effects. Especially if you're streaking, which we are. This is technically a streak game. It is too dangerous to put on jewelry until you have Remove Curse. Did we just... Oh yeah, we reached level 3. I was so focused on the level up, which attribute to raise, that I forgot to learn our spells. Alright, we've only got 3 spell levels at the moment. That's going to go up with more spell casting and as we do more levels. But it means that of our level 3 spells, we can only pick 1. So we've got Conjure Flame and Mephitic Cloud. Both of those are good. They're very good actually. But I think of the 2, the most important one to have is Mephitic Cloud. And that's because in the early game, a lot of dangerous monsters, Conjure Flame won't stop them, but Mephitic Cloud might. I'm thinking in particular of Centaurs or Orc Priests. Because what Conjure Flame does is it puts a cloud down, a single tile of fire, which means enemies won't walk into it, or they might, in which case they'll die. But a ranged enemy like a Centaur or an Orc Priest will happily stand on the other end of the fire and just kill you. Whereas with Mephitic Cloud, you can try to confuse them. So that's the one that we're going to do first. It has a 32% failure chance, which is really high. So we're going to need to start doing... Alright, and this is where some of you might go a bit crazy here, but I'm going to start focusing Air Magic and Poison Magic. It's a 3-spell school of Conjurations, Air Magic and Poison. And we're going to take everything to 2. That's sort of the theme of Wizard apparently. Do all your skills to 2. Alright. Cool. So we'll get that up and running. That's really, really important. And then when we can, we'll do Conjure Flame as well. We may as well pick up these javelins, and with Shift Q we'll quiver those. If we're going to be throwing something, I'd rather throw the more damaging thing, so the javelin rather than stone. And is a short sword better than a dagger? Debatable. The short sword does more damage, but the dagger is better for stabbing, which we might end up doing because we might confuse things with Mephitic Cloud. And also with our stealth we might sneak up on things. Like this one. Let's just see if we can stab the bat. No, we can't. Oh, dare to dream. You miss 100% of the stabs that you don't take. That's a Wayne Gretzky quote. Pretty sure. Oh, we got more javelins. These are javelins of penetration. That's amazing. I was hoping that they were poison javelins, which would be even, well, better for the early game. Not better later though. But, I don't know. I can't imagine us training throwing just for 3 penetration javelins. But what's so exciting about those is they'll go through enemies. So you can attack whole packs with it. What is wrong with our magic dart? It doesn't work. What is wrong with you? Alright, we'll try the Crimson Imp. Yep, okay. They can do up to 12 damage with their attacks. I believe that's correct. It's been a while since I played Crawl. It's 10 or 11. Up to 12, yep. So, I mean, if you ever let a worm hit you twice, as this character, it could kill you. And I haven't mentioned this, but I've seen someone talk about how they were so unlucky with their core imp because they always just get the Crimson Imps and never any of the better imps. That's the way that the spell works, by the way. Your highest chance is to get a Crimson Imp, so most of the time when you use it, that's what you're going to end up with. Another ring. The other ones are rarer, which makes sense because the other ones are much stronger. Your Crimson Imps blink around everywhere, so you might be using it to try to block an enemy, and then it blinks away, and it's no longer blocking. So yeah. Alright, that's our D2 done. Quick check on our Mephitic Cloud, which is down to 28%. As we start D3, I'm going to start not all of our scrolls, but I'm just going to do another 2 again. If it's Identify, it will let us identify this potion. If it's Remove Curse, then it will let us start trying these rings that we've got. It's Identify, so we'll go with the potion first. That's Curing. That's amazing. So now we're not going to die to a random worker ant that we find. And we could identify one of these rings, but I'm going to say that it's not a big deal. Our character's not struggling so much that we really need a ring to carry us right now. I'd rather just wait until we find another potion and then we'll identify that. The double adder. Well, I'm glad we found Curing, and it seems like it's a really plain field time right now. Alright, so things we could do here. We could start making imps. We could use 6 mana worth of imps. We could hope that they start blocking in the hallway to keep the adders away from us and kill the adders. Yeah, they're the 2 things, block and or kill. Either way, we're happy with. As long as either they die or we get back upstairs. Or my other option might be to throw out a 30% to fail Mephitic Cloud. I could hit both of them right now. That's a lie, I can only hit one. And they didn't group up, so I could hit them both with the one Mephitic. So in that case, I think the adders outplayed us. So our option is to go, or our only good option here is to go with the imps. Alright, and while the Crimson Imps are going to blink around, that's okay. We failed that as well. Let's see, they're all Crimson Imps. I can the Crimson Imps keeping the adders kind of away from us. So we kind of hang out here, see if the imps kill them. It doesn't look like they are. So we're just going to go back upstairs. I'm going to X that out. We don't want to fight 2 adders at once. We didn't roll well. That's a Wand of Acid. That is amazing. I'm also so thankful that some random monster didn't just find that and pick it up, because it's kind of crazy. A lot of people make this mistake. There is code which prevents low-level enemies from spawning with some particular wands that are considered dangerous. One of them is the Wand of Acid. But there's nothing from stopping those same enemies from seeing one on the dungeon floor and picking it up. And particularly now that with the extra spawns on levels being removed, what they did instead is they being the devs, made it so that a proportion of enemies on a floor always spawn awake. Well, that's not quite true. Every enemy that's placed has a chance of being awake. is more accurate. So as they all wander around, they can pick up things like this wand of acid. And we only have 23 HP. So if some random orc or some random kobold picked up that wand of acid, they might have one-shot us. But we found it. So now that's a huge boon for our character. In the early game, a wand of acid can kill anything. We don't really need to train evocations just for that, especially considering how many other skills we're training. So for now, I'm just going to carry it. We know these adders are around, so maybe we'll get... Oh, we got the white imp. Alright, the dream. Alright, we got one. Let's see if we can get the other one. Too easy. We got to level 4. We still don't have the spell levels for Conjure Flame. That's going to be a little while yet. I shouldn't have done that. I should not have done that. Why does this keep happening? Oh, because I keep pressing 2. That's a different macro. Okay, never mind. Let's clear that. I've understood now why that keeps happening. Alright, I'm using TA to instruct my summons to attack the enemy. Rather than just follow us. I'm going to check this hatch out. If we ever need to come back up it, it's nice to know where it leads. And it might be on our optimal path on the orb run. That's Grinder, who then immediately woke up. Oh boy. Okay, Grinder can hit for up to 11 and then cause pain, which is a lot of damage. Almost an 80% chance of pain affecting us, but also a 62% chance of paralyze, which is extremely high. We could probably kill Grinder in, I don't know, maybe 2 acid blasts, but when Grinder is literally the tile adjacent to us, I don't really want to try that because 11 damage plus a pain off the melee attacks is a lot. Particularly if she then paralyzes us, she's adjacent to us, so she's just going to start wailing on us. When you get paralyzed, your evasion drops to essentially 0, and since we have no AC, we're just going to die really, really quickly. Grinder is terrifying anytime on D3. For Grinder to be adjacent to us right now, I'm literally shaking right now. Yeah, that's not true, but this is really bad. So what do? We can't Mephitic Cloud Grinder. Grinder is resistant to poison, so she would resist it. Also, if we were to try to Mephitic Cloud Grinder here, we'd be hitting ourselves, which is not a good plan. So what I'd like to do, rather than just start walking away from her, when we might get paralyzed and die, is we're going to try for a random blink. There's a 14% chance that we just fail it. There's also a chance that we just land right here, which means we wasted a turn for no benefit whatsoever. But we're going to hope that we're lucky and we land down here. Alright, let's go. Alright, that's not too bad. 2 options here. I could try to Acid Wand Grinder, or I could try to run away. We could get around this corner, and then once we're out of line of sight, we could start summoning imps. And if you have imps between you and an enemy with hexes, their line of fire can't hit you. So that's one option, but if Grinder decides to paralyze us in these 2 turns as we move, what will be 1 turn? We'll move there, Grinder will get to paralyze us, and then as we move out, we'll be out of line of sight. So, I don't know, that's not easy. Is it better to try for 1 turn to get out of line of sight, or is it better to just start Acid Wanding Grinder? I'm not sure, neither's good. I think it might be better just to risk 1 turn. 1 turn, and then making the imps. I think there's a good chance that 1 acid blast won't kill Grinder. We probably need 2, and there's a chance that it might just miss. So it's like saying we spend 1 turn acid blasting, and then if it misses or doesn't kill, we're in the same position. Whereas if we spend the 1 turn to get away and we get around the corner, then we actually are a lot safer because we can put imps in. So please no paralyze. Okay, good. So we've gone around the corner, we're away. Grinder would be on this tile. If we try to go just for the stairs, Grinder will be able to see us and paralyze us. So I don't like that play. I like just making an imp or 2 and then trying to get behind them to block line of sight. And if we're lucky, we might get a good imp that will just kill Grinder. We've got the double white imp, that's good. I'm going to step behind our imp. Grinder is very resistant to cold. So it's not as good as with most enemies. I'm going to go for more imps. Oh, we got the triple white imp. Against any other unique on D3, that would be the absolute dream, because white imps are so OP. But Grinder being very resistant is not quite so good. I'm going to instruct everyone to go on Grinder rather than follow me. And then I'm just going to... Oh man, I don't think even 3 white imps is going to kill Grinder because of her being very resistant. And she has blinking, so she actually could just... Well, she could step around it to get to us, or she could just blink and paralyze us. So I'm just going to go back upstairs. We're going to X that out too. What I might do... This is the stair that we had 2 adders at. We know that Grinder is down here. If we are able to roll... No, some of the stronger imps, like the Iron Imp, that's perfect. The Iron Imp can hit for up to 12 damage. Alright, so let's just... Grinder's hiding. Oh, we're getting way too outplayed. Okay, our Iron Imp even timed out. Okay, so that's terrifying. Grinder's somewhere on this floor. Could be anywhere. She's wandering around. We might find her at any point. We could skip the floor, we could go down to D4. I don't love that idea. I think as long as we don't end up adjacent to Grinder, like we unluckily did when we were auto-exploring, I think our imps should be able to protect us. Famous last words incoming. The Howler Monkey Zombie. That's kind of scary, although it's slow, so we can actually just walk away from it. I lied. There are jackals trying to pin us in. But if we weren't getting sandwiched, we could have just walked away and let our imps do the work. The worker ant zombie can't poison us, so I don't mind just constricting it to death, even though we have no mana. And at any point, Grinder is going to turn a corner and own us. Do we have enough for Conjure Flame? No. That is one way to attempt to fight Grinder. By putting Flame between you, she can't directly get at you to melee you, but she can still hit you with the Pain spell, and she also can blink, so she can blink around it. We're going to ID the potion we just found, that's heal wounds. That makes us a lot more survivable, but can't heal wounds when paralyzed, so again, I don't know. I feel like this is such a... Oh, we just miscast. Let's just go with Magic Dart, and we're out of mana next to an adder. I'm not too afraid, we've got a curing and a heal wounds, but also we're just going to constrict it to death. Adders rely on their evasion, but your constriction won't ever miss, so it's very powerful against adders. I shut that door because a worm can't open it. And yeah, I feel like everything about this is bad. I keep talking about how threatening Grinder is and how afraid of Grinder I am, but I have not yet left the floor, so this feels like I'm asking for it. I don't know, that might be victim blaming, but that's what it feels like right now. Go White Imp. We reached level 5. That's given us another spell level to take us to 2, but we need a 3rd for Conjure Flame. Where are our skills? Every point of spellcasting you train, you get another spell level, but we're a fair bit off getting to 4. Our last ID goes on this potion. It's League. That's really strong. In addition to making us our poison, oh god, also can give us a bunch of AC. Alright, the wizard didn't see us. He's by far the more scary one out of that pack. That's a Whip of Venom. Alright, now mind, we've got a new weapon. We're not using a +1 dagger anymore. We're now using a Whip of Venom. Extremely strong because you can hit an enemy to poison them and then just kite away. Even if it's faster than us, we could technically poison it and then blink with our blink spell. Alright, so that wizard is wandering as well. Failed magic dart. I was about to say I should Mephitic Cloud this because just trying to magic dart it is so dangerous. I don't know why I just did that. We could cure. I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna see if we can break out of it rather than using our only curing. Okay, we broke out of it. Good. So we're gonna go with Mephitic Cloud now. As long as we don't fail our 19% chance, this should get the wizard. Oh man, it completely missed. Alright, there we go. So now, while the wizard's confused, we can then attack. Cool. I mean, we could have also acid wandered, and we haven't found Grinder. Maybe Grinder got shafted, or maybe she's wandering. I think we can. It will be worth a huge chunk of experience if we can kill Grinder. So I'm going to go Shift X, Control F to forget the floor. And then let's see if Grinder's here. Monsters can get shafted, so it is possible. No, she's there. Alright, and she didn't see us. That's our Octopode stealth. Let's see if we can roll. No, okay, well she's seen us. I'm going to tell my minions to attack. Let's see how they go. We'll make a new one. And I'm basically just trying to keep them between us and Grinder to block line of fire. It's a lot harder with the Crimson Imps because they blink everywhere. Oh sweet, we got an Iron Imp. That should do the trick. It hits for 12 in melee, so that should just kill Grinder. Get away. Come on, imps. It's not working. Grinder's about half dead. I think we just acid wand at this point. And I think I don't mind trying to constrict here, seeing that we have an Iron Imp next to us. Even if we got paralyzed, I think the Iron Imp would kill Grinder if Grinder tried to kill us. Alright, we did it. We got it with the constriction there. Alright, look at all these spell levels. We're going to go more dex. Actually, are we? The little bit of int now would really help us with our spells. Yeah, okay, I changed my mind. Saved by the capital letters only. Alright, so that's okay. Which means we have the spell levels now for Conjure Flame. Excellent. Let's memorize that. Let's switch Mephitic Cloud to F. Change my mind. Alright, that's better. We'll do C for Conjure Flame. And Mephitic Cloud will be D. Alright. Shift X Control U undoes the forgetting the floor thing that we just did. And now that we're on D4, I like reading all my scrolls because the temple can start from here. So if we find magic mapping, we might find the temple. We're going to start with our duplicates, and we got remove curse, so that lets us now put these rings on. Flight, not so useful. Stealth. Can't complain too much about the stealth. That's been doing some pretty good work so far. Let's keep reading. Enchant weapon, we'll put that on our whip of venom. Do we want to keep enchanting it? You know what? Yes. It's a really strong weapon for this point in the game, and probably it will be our weapon for a long time. It's a very good backup to have as a mage, because you can poison things and then just kite while you regain your mana. Keep reading, we'll do the duplicate. Random uselessness, thanks game. Enchant armour. It can only go on our hat, but now our AC has just literally doubled to 2. So our character, if it wasn't already OP from being an Octopode, now it's OP in the overpowered sense. Although, is there a difference? I think that's probably why Octopode has OP as its initials. Alright. Let's start doing D4. Oh dear, okay. Here's Ijib. Ijib is terrifying. Also, I'm continuing to go because I don't remember how long the first segment was, so I'm not entirely sure how long this episode's been. But it would be nice to find a temple. Maybe we'll do D4 and then we'll stop. Ijib is terrifying. Terrifying. Because she always spawns with a wand now. So she could have paralysis, she could have disintegration, which would kill you in maybe 2 turns if you're unlucky, but certainly not more than 3. She could have acid. There are no more lightning ones, so she's kind of bad. But even just the acid is terrifying. So we're gonna first step around the corner to get her out of vision. We're gonna spam some imps. If she has acid, it's a bolt, so she can shoot through our imps and still kill us anyway. But we're gonna have to just hope that she doesn't have acid. And if she has, here it is, it's the acid. Oh god, why did it have to be the acid? Thankfully it missed. But with 39 HP, we cannot allow her to keep shooting us with acid, and trying to make more imps is not going to help because she can shoot through them. Using a random blink, there's a good chance that it would make our situation worse rather than better, because we might end up here next to her. So I think our only real option is seeing if we can Mephitic Cloud her, and if we confuse her, then... Oh, thank god, we got her. Okay, she's confused. Now we need to kill her. We really need to kill her. For that reason, I'm just gonna shoot an acid wand. I know we're about to get more acids because she's got them, and then she's nearly dead, so we can just finish her off with a magic dart. Okay, that's good. I would love to Mephitic Cloud this worker ant because it's vulnerable to poison, but we don't have the mana for it. I don't mind hitting it with our Venom Whip. Not only do we then get to constrict it, but because it's vulnerable to poison and we just poisoned it, it's going to die. Nice. Okay, so we got... Wow, Ijib had 11 charges on her acid wand. It was 11 because she shot one. So now we have 14 acid wand charges. That's insane. A glowing mace, I don't mind ignoring it because even if it is venom, I'd prefer a Venom Whip. It swings faster than a mace. And because we have no skills, that is important. Oh right, also all our magic skills have turned off. Let's see. We need some fire training because our conjure flame's too high. Also, I think I would like to have blink be lower than 12% chance to fail. So we're gonna focus fire magic. We're again gonna put a skill target on for 2. We're also gonna turn on but not focus translocations, and again take it to 2, and that will just drop blink a little bit, make it a little bit more reliable. In a life or death situation, you don't want to fail your blink. Everything else looks pretty good. Actually, let's also turn conjurations on, and we're going to take that to 4. Not only will we be magic darting things still, but it also is in both Conjure Flame and Mephitic Cloud. So it's going to give us decent returns. We have Remove Curse, so we can just put these rings on. +1 protection, 3 AC. How could we die now? Literally impossible. And our Book of Minor Magic only has slow in it, so at this point we may as well just drop it. We're not going to learn slow ever. Let's see. I should show you Conjure Flame. Not that we need it against this adder, but we can show it off. So Conjure Flame puts down a flame like this. It's extremely powerful in hallways because it stops an enemy from getting to you. And while it's there, we can then just magic dart over the fire. The monster can either sit on the other side of the fire and get plinked to death by magic darts, or it can try to run to us, in which case it's just going to sit in the fire and die very quickly. D4 Ogre is kind of scary. I'm going to eat because we're near starving. If we go to starving during a fight, we might be able to cast more spells. And I think we can quite easily kill an Ogre. What we can do is roll some imps. And we already got a shadow and a white. Those 2 alone are probably enough to kill it. But I'm going to start backing up to the hallway here, so that if for some reason our imps don't kill it, we can then just put a Conjure Flame down and keep it away from us. Speaking of which, we've got 8 mana. We've got a Hound to the left of us. That's not good. I'm just thinking, that's probably okay. I was about to say, we could put a Conjure Flame on both sides of us. But if it fails, we'd be in trouble. But I don't think so, because the ogre's nearly dead and we have 14 acid wand charges. So if he steps around the corner, we'll acid wand him. So I'm going to conjure flame the hound, or try to. Okay, we got it. I'm going to conjure flame the other one. So we're now sitting kind of in a bit of a moat here. Our left one's running out. That's not good. In that case, let's just acid wand. Wow, we one shot killed that guy. Alright. Oh, there's another ogre. What is going on here? So we've got the double ogre, double hound pack, and we nearly just got trapped between them. He hasn't seen us, fortunately. I'm hoping that as we step down left, he will continue to not see us, and he won't also come down, he'll go up. He came down and saw us. Alright, that's okay. We can't get one shot by an ogre, but we're going to need to run around. I'm looking for a pillar, probably up the top here. So we can run around him up here. We can hope that we get random energy to get a gap, which will let us then run, I guess, all the way back down and go up these stairs. Jumping on the teleport trap would be another option, but we have no mana, and a lot of this floor is unexplored, so we don't really want to do that. And we can't, I mean, we could try to fight him, but he's full HP. He can come close to one-shotting us, so I don't want to mess with that. We're just going to walk away. We're going to regain our mana again, and we're going to hope that random energy gives us a gap. It did, but I moved too quickly. If I'm paying more attention like this, when he gives us a gap, we can put a conjure flame down. It seems like a good wand of acid. We get 2 ogres. We can kind of just sit here, slowly get our mana back as he's sitting behind the fire. Alright, every time we get a mana, we'll plink him. Oh, I just messed up. I walked past the pillar that I needed. I'm going to go back. We could Mephitic Cloud him at this point, but it's probably safer just to put the Conjure Flame down, and we'll do it all again. Got him. Alright. This might be too much excitement for one episode, so I think we're going to stop it there. I'm going to manually stop it with my mouse, and I'm sorry again. That's the first time in over a year that I've accidentally made you miss actual crawl content, so really, that's not too bad. Anyway, if you join me in the next one, we'll keep trying to find temple. We'll try to pick up Nemelex as our god, and we'll try to stay away from